Hi, my name is Aileen and I am a yoga teacher. And back in September, I got diagnosed with cancer. So I have been using my yoga practice since then to try and help with the treatments and with trying to have my mind to stay calm about all the different things that are changing in my world right now. And I'd really like to share this with other people who may be on a similar journey. So I'm going to make a series of little video clips that show different bits of yoga that I've been doing that I found helpful for me. And I'm hoping that you'll find them helpful too. Now, I'm not incredibly professional at the old camera stuff, so you're going to have to bear with me for a little while. But hopefully they are okay and that they get the message across. So I suppose the most important thing is that you listen to your own body. So if I'm showing you different things to do, if it doesn't feel okay for you, then don't do it. That's probably the most important thing that we can all do, is just be a little bit more mindful about what's really going on inside in our bodies, and not kind of thinking that we're just going to push on through and make ourselves do something. So if you can do that with yourself, then that would be brilliant. So we're going to use a little bit of equipment. Anybody who's been to any of my yoga classes knows that I use different types of equipment. If you don't have it, it doesn't matter, we can improvise. These are a couple of yoga bricks. If you have them, great. If you don't, books will also do. Going to use a couple of cushions, like so, from your sofa or from your bed. Maybe a couple of blankets will also be handy. I have these here, like so. So you can get whatever you have lying around the house. A chair. This is a yoga stool, but you don't need a yoga stool. It's just a fancy name for a chair. So you can just use one of your own chairs from the kitchen, and that's going to be perfect. Now, as I said, I'm not particularly professional about the old video making, so at some point I might end up not seeing my head. I hope that it's okay, and maybe we'll learn as I go along to get a little bit better at what I'm doing. So we're going to start off anyway, first off, in a seated position. And I'm sitting on one of these cushions. You can sit on whatever height you want to sit on. So if when you sit here, you find your knees are up here like this doesn't feel comfortable at all, then you got to sit on a little bit of a higher height. So either increase it with another cushion or a blanket. And if that's still not helping, then just sit up onto a chair and don't have your knees like this. It's just not going to help. Also, the other thing you can do is sit with your back to the wall, because if when you're sitting up like this already feels like a little bit strainful, then sitting with your back to the wall is going to help, just to create that kind of feeling of rest. And that's really what we're trying to do, is just feel restful. We're not trying to create any more aggression or strain within the body. Excuse me, I've got like a little cough this morning, not COVID, so just a little bit of a sore throat. It's kind of a dangerous thing to say that these days, to say that you've got a cough. But anyway, we've got social distancing going on here. So we're going to start off seated. I'm starting off seated cross-legged, as I said. You can be on a chair. The sequence that I'm going to do this morning is an immunity boosting sequence, and I have literally been doing this nearly every day since I got diagnosed back in September. And I suppose since then I've had surgery. So I've had one surgery. I've had a lymph nodes removed and a lump in my breast. And I'm in the middle now of chemotherapy. So I'm in the middle of 5 months chemotherapy. And I really, really found this to be really helpful at different times to me, to just, I just bring a little bit of feeling back into my body. So we're going to start seated, and you're going to feel that you're lifting up through the spine. You can take your hands to the side, your fingers like little claws, just pressing down into the ground and lift the chest upwards. So you can already see I've kind of gone from this to lifting up through the spine. So I'm rolling the shoulders back and I'm lifting the sides of the chest upwards. I'm not trying to poke my ribs forwards. I don't want to be really arched in my back. I'm trying to get a little bit of a balance, but I am trying to definitely feel an openness in my chest, and which will really help with my breath. And the more oxygen we can get into our body, the better. So I'm lifting up through the spine. As I said, if this starts to feel anyway tense or your knees start lifting up high, definitely sit to a chair or sit with your back against the wall. And then you can take your hands either onto your knees, wherever you're comfortable. You can take them into prayer position, whichever is most comfortable for you. I'm going to put my hands on my knees because it actually helps with this lift through the spine. Holding onto the front of the knees helps keep that lift through the spine. And then we're just going to gently allow the eyes to close. So just close the eyes for a moment and bring your attention just more and more into the body. So just take a few inhalations and exhalations, just a few normal breaths. And become aware of the sounds that are around you. Maybe you can hear a radio, maybe you can hear some traffic outside, whatever it is, just become aware of the noises that are around you. And then draw your awareness in towards the body. And feel the feet against the ground. If you're sitting on the floor with your legs crossed, feel the cross in the shins. Relax the back of the thighs, the front of the thighs. Feel that the hips are heavy and releasing down into the seat. And then lift and extend all the way up through the spine, along the back of the neck, and then out through the crown of the head. And feel that you're growing tall through the spine. And just let go of any tension in the shoulders. Relax the arms, the hands. Let go of any tension from the back of the head. Relax the throat. And just allow the face to soften. The forehead, the eyes, the cheeks and the mouth. And just for a moment allow your gaze to move towards the back of your head. And then feel that it drops down into the centre of the body. And from there, just for a moment, connect into your breath. Connect into the inhalation and the exhalation. And just observe the breath. And then slowly bring your hands up into your prayer position and just lower the head down towards the chest. And feel that you can allow the brain to surrender down towards the heart. Just bowing your head down to your heart. And release the back of the hands down into the thighs. And then your next inhalation, slowly lifting the head and then opening the eyes towards the ground. Great, so we will get going. The first pose that we're going to do is a pose called Uttanasana, which is a forward bend. It's a standing forward bend. Now, the disadvantage I have with my camera system is that if I stand up, you're not going to see the top of me. So I am going to have to stay in a half position. I'm not incredibly tall, but even I end up going out of Zoom. So you'll have to bear with me. Imagine that I'm standing fully upright. So I have my stool or my chair, whichever it is that you're using, and I'm going to come to standing. As you can see, if I stand up any higher than this, I'm going to be out of the picture. So I'm not going to do that. Your feet. Now it's important. I don't know how you're going to see my feet. Okay, let's stand back here a little bit. Hopefully you can see them. My toes are pointing straight forwards. So I'm not letting my toes turn out like this. I mean, you probably notice you spend quite a lot of your time standing with the feet out like this, but we're keeping our toes turned forwards and we're keeping our heels directly underneath our hips. So we've got this alignment and we've got our chair in front of us. So my toes are pointing forwards, my heels are underneath my hips, and you can see already there straight away, I'm extending my arms along the seat of the chair and I'm getting quite a nice extension through my spine. I'm looking forwards, I'm not letting the head hang or drop down like this. At this point, I'm just going to get an extension in my back. Now, good thing to do, to get your legs working correctly, as I say, lift your kneecaps up. Sometimes people don't really know how to do that, but if you lift your toes up, it's going to engage the knees and it's going to engage the tops of the legs. So you'll feel the difference. You can try it. You can drop the toes down and then you can lift the toes up and feel the difference between the two. And you're stretching the spine forwards. Now, we're going to move the chair in, because within the immunity sequence, it's really important that the head is always resting on something. It's not left hanging. So we're going to take our head down onto the seat of the chair. So the same action is happening with my feet. My toes are pointing straight forwards. My heels are slightly turned out. My hips and my heels are in line with each other. My kneecaps are lifting. My toes are lifting. And if at this point your hamstrings are screaming out at you and thinking, oh my God, what you do is, we're not going to bend our knees. We're going to keep our legs straight, but we lift the height of the seat up to allow our legs to remain straight. So maybe you need to take a little bit of a higher height, and that's completely fine. That's again starting to be more intuitive and listening into your body. So if you need a higher height, you take a higher height. If you need a lower height, you go to a lower height. So whichever is right for you, either lower or higher, it really doesn't matter. It's not a competition. It's about being in the right space for your own body. Your hands can be in a couple of different places, the back of your ankles, calves. They can rest on the chair. They can be on the ground, wherever it is that's most comfortable. And we're just going to rest here. So you can stay in this position for 30 seconds to a minute, but again, you're letting the tension go out of the neck, the throat, and you're allowing the head to release. You're keeping the legs working and the legs strong. So Uttanasana, forward bend. Take your hands back onto the seat of the chair to come up. Again, stretch your spine forwards like how you've done. My hands are underneath my shoulders now. Now you, in your world, are actually going to stand upright. Me, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to come back down to seated, but you go up to upright. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to end up out of the picture and it'll look even crazier. So the second pose that we're going to do is a pose which I'm sure many of you have done. It's called downward dog. And we're using a wall. I don't know if you can see my mat there. I'm just going to maybe angle that a little bit more. Okay. So you can see my mat is running right the way into the wall. I'm going to use the wall to help support me. And I'm going to have my hands in this position. So I've turned them outwards, if you can see that. So I've got my thumb and my forefinger are going to go to the wall, and the hands are turned out. And they're definitely going to be at least the width of my shoulders. And if you've got like tight shoulders, or you've got tension, you don't want to be like in this position, choking yourself. So you want to go wide with your hands. Now, not too wide, maybe the width of the mat. And if you go the width of the mat with the hands, you go the width, that same width with your feet. And the same if they're shoulder width, your feet are hip distance apart. Now I'm going to use my bricks in this position, but if you don't have yoga bricks, I'm going to show you using stuff that you might have at home. So a cushion, blankets. So you're building up a little bit of a stool again, like a small thing for the ground, a partition, a platform. And this is for your head to rest on. As I said, all the immunity sequence poses, your head needs to be supported. Really important. So I've got my hands, you know what we're doing with our hand position, we're going into the wall. So I've got my hands to the wall. The key thing to this pose, which is really common, is people just kind of pop straight up into it and then their head doesn't go anywhere near their lift. So when you come up into it, you tuck the toes under, you lift the hips up and my knees stay bent. I then take my head onto my lift. You may need to come down and readjust it. I need to move mine a little bit further forwards. So I'll do it again. Tuck the toes under, take my head down. So now my head is comfortable. And then I stretch my heels back down towards the ground and straighten out my legs. Your heels do not need to be on the floor. They can be lifted. It all depends on where you are within your hamstrings. It really doesn't matter. So you're stretching the heels down towards the ground, your kneecaps are lifting, and you're pressing the hands away from the wall and stretching the spine. The most important thing is your head is resting, so you're releasing any tension from the neck, the throat, and the head rests down onto your lift. Your heels again of the feet don't turn in, they're turning out, so you're keeping that width across your lower back, and you're keeping the legs strong. And then you release and come back down. So as I said, you can stay there for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30, a minute. You can build it up as you do it. And you come back down, stretch your hands out, and let your head rest. And then inhale and come back up. So the next thing that we're going to do is a wide angle pose. And again, we're using the wall. I really think that, unless you're feeling super energetic, if you're in the middle of chemo, I've definitely found I need the support of a wall to really help me. Because otherwise I just create loads of strain on my body and tension, which I really don't need any extra tension. So the foot is in at the wall. Can you see that? It's like pressing right into the wall. Both my heels are in line with the back edge of my mat, so I know that the feet are at the same place. One foot isn't further forwards than the other. And then I'm going to just take my hands underneath my shoulders. Now, if you can't get here and your knees are bending, you take your chair, like so, and you stretch onto it. And you just rest here. And this is perfect and very, very, very comfortable. So this could be exactly where you are. You put the seat of the chair in front of you, and you just allow your head to rest onto it. You keep the legs working, and you stay here. Now if you've done this and your arms are in this crossed position, can you see I've got them stacked one on top of the other? You just change that. So you change the cross on the arms. And then to come out of it, you take the hands down. I'm going to move the chair out of the way. And then you heel toe, bring your feet back in. If you're using the chair, you keep your hands on the chair. I'm really sorry about the camera. I will do my very best to try and figure out something. Maybe I'll get a tripod, get a little bit more professional. If you're able to do this pose without the chair, you can do it with just one of your yoga bricks, like so. So you're stretching the hands forwards again, taking the hands back, and then you're just letting your head rest onto the lift. And then slowly stretch the spine forwards.